So I'm just going to give it another minute. Again, Matt Vukisevich, you can turn your video on if you want. And then Danny, you're on twice. What do you want to,
Greg Kraft and Maggie Kraft called this morning,
okay.
which was really nice. They I think they were in San Luis Obispo, so they were nice. I guess they have a place in San Luis and then a place in Tempe. So they go back and they kind of go back and forth. I think they have some. I think their children live in Tempe, so they went. They go back and forth. Gary Davis, I'd know you anywhere. Whether your hair is white, doesn't make any difference. You look like $1 million. Maybe
I thought that was virtual background. His hair is actually black.
Maybe 750,000. You look great. you look great. Oh God.
No, this is good. Pete Sweeney is on. Did everybody see his comment that Coach Miller's September 9th is significant, and that 9 months prior to that it was New Year's Eve? So we believe it's okay to say, Coach Miller, you were conceived on New Year's Eve. So hopefully that's not too blasphemous.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, just to get started, I have to admit that and I'm on a really serious note, turning 80 is shit. You can say anything you want about getting older, but turning 80 is just as fucked up as anything I have ever seen or done in my life. It's shit. The only thing nice about 80 is the 8 has nice circles in it. But other than that, there's nothing about it's good. It's crappy. And everybody comes in and says, 80 is the new 79 or whatever the hell it is, So it's been tough. I don't know how many guys are going to be on, or guys and gals, but I do want to say one thing which is not track related, but kind of related, and that is this: that over the last few years, I guess from the time, I don't know if it was 75 or when it was, obviously a lot of friends and a lot of people we worked with have passed away, and that part has been difficult. And for those, I guess Terry and some of the other guys that are from Bloom, you remember George Carter, who was, just a great human being, and, a wonderful guy. And he passed away, I think on Father's Day or Mother's Day. I know it was a shock to the family. We've had, people, I know Jim Warwick's lost, his best friend, and also, somebody that was close to him. And I know we've all, had that happen. And frankly, in my family, we've been lucky. Claudine is now 50, and Chris is, I think 46 or 47. And we haven't had anybody passing away. We've had, some illnesses, but for the most part, the family has been really healthy, and we've done well. And the only other thing is this, just to explain it real quickly, I still have this disease called multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma is a red blood cell disease. It can't be cured, but it can be, moderated and taken care of. So I get shots every 2 weeks in my stomach, which are really very simple. And then once a week, I go down to UCLA and I get a transfusion, which is about a 4 or 5 hour process, and all of it is for your bone strength and and fighting off other kinds of things, and it's been interesting, and frankly, I feel good. Unfortunately, about 2 weeks ago, I broke my ankle, and I fell down the stairs. Suzanne and I were celebrating our 54th anniversary, but it wasn't because we were celebrating. I just tripped and fell, and then I used to be very svelte, very thin, and now I'm very fat, and now everything went right on my ankle, and I didn't break it, but I cracked the bone. So I'm wearing a boot on it, but I feel really good, and I'm going to be going to New York on the 17th, and I've got some work to do there. I'm going to give a speech, and I think some of you may know that I gave the graduation speech at Bradley University. They had 9,000 people there, and it was really something. They gave me an honorary doctorate degree, which was really nice. And I thought that I would accomplish a lot of things. I always felt I would. Becoming a doctor, getting a degree in a doctorate was not one of the things I thought I would accomplish. So I'm going to go out and buy one of those rubber, things. What do you call them? The doctors wear them. They listen to your chest and heart. Stethoscope. And I'm going to start wearing the stethoscope so people call me doctor, no matter what. I don't care what happens. So other than that, everything else is good. We're still living in Vegas and in Portland, and the family's been in good shape. Chris and his family live in Connecticut, and Claudine and her family live in Portland. And we try to get together as much as we can. This Thanksgiving, I think we'll all get together. Chris has three children, and Claudine and Mike have one. And we're, really happy. Everybody's been healthy. A couple of athletes in the family. Mackenzie is a really, really good volleyball player, captain of her team in the university, and doing well. She's about 6 feet, maybe 6'1", and she's done real well. And Chris, their company is doing $300 million a month. So they're doing well. It's a ticket business, and they're doing well, and everything else is fine, and really nothing really to complain about, except again, just to reiterate, I really do feel badly about those people that we've lost. That's really been, I think that weighs on my mind quite a bit, and I'm sad about that. So Miro, who's on the call, who's not anybody that a lot of you know, we're just finishing a book, and the book should be done in the next, I think, month. And it's been a long, arduous deal. There's been about 30 interviews, and some really nice things have happened. And I'm still working with Andre and Stephanie. We're doing well. We've now built 150 schools in the United States, all charter schools, and we're really, really pleased about that. And really, that's really about it. Everything is, about the same. I ended up giving a little bit more money to Cal Poly. I made another pledge of $250,000 to them, and we're giving them some more money, and primarily for scholarships. I think Coach has done a real good job there. We had our first legitimate sub 4-minute miler, and I think he got in the NCAA finals in the 800, and I think he got in the Olympic trials in the finals, I think, in the 800. But anyhow, things have been going well there, and Cap has continued to really be involved in track and field, and we're really happy about all of that. But again, I just would say again, every one of the losses have been monumental, and Jim, that includes Peggy as well. I mean, it includes everybody who was part of the deal. So I want you to know I think about those things, and barring living to 160, I think I'm more than halfway through my life. So I think that hill that we were all climbing up, I am now vertically going down. So it's been interesting, and I think that Manny did set himself up in that chair the right way, because he looks like he's got about a 52-inch chest there, and he's representing the United States in weightlifting at 180 pounds or whatever weight it'll be. Okay, so if we have questions or we want to talk about anything, I'm thrilled to do that. But it's always, I know it seems a little overkill, but seeing you guys is so great. Even if it's just for 30 minutes, it's just great. It's really great, and I couldn't be happier that that we've all survived in one way or another, and it's been fabulous. Just been fabulous. So anyhow,
just to build on it, there's everybody on this call is significant, but again, Brother Guga, Ronald C. Martin, is on, but he was instrumental in getting XB Me, Zonnie Lloyd, on the call. And I know Zonnie is not feeling well, but he's the XB Me portion of it. And so I want to make sure, Coach, you say hello to him. So that's
Zonnie Lloyd is on the call. I mean, first of all, what's XBE? I don't know what that is.
XB is remember he was XB Me, you know me, engineering, mechanical engineer. So
not even a clue as to what you're talking about.
Well, that was his nickname, right?
Okay,
Coach Ron, that was his nickname. Give me a yes or no, like you're crazy. But like I said, some people, Vic Bucola was on, but dropped off. Again, just a lot of people. But Terry, I know we're gonna. Some people want to say some things, and so let's go that route. Does anybody in the chat room? Again, I told you in the email if you want to send Coach Miller a note and you're shy, but raise your hand if you want to say something. What I'll do is unmute you. All right, Fred Harvey, I saw your hand first. It's unfortunate, but where is it? I think you're already, let's see, Terry.
Oh, let me help you.
If you had this straight, we'd actually have a conversation, but this is not a good job.
Go ahead and don't see his name on
there. You are. I'm good.
Yep, go for it.
Yeah. So I just want to say in terms of who I am and what I've been able to do in my life has a direct correlation to my relationship with Coach Miller. Everything that I've been able to do recruiting wise, everything I've done in terms of my values, in terms of developing people, is directly correlated to my relationship with you, Coach, and having that honor. My wife and I, Janet, who you know very well,
right,
we just celebrated our 39th anniversary, and
fantastic.
We're going to the to the Prefontaine, the first Diamond League event in the States, and going to spend some time with Cap there and a few folks, and me recruiting and just maintaining. I've been here I'm going to my 37th year here at Arizona.
Unbelievable.
And people ask me how have I been able to maintain that length of time. It's it's patience and understanding the values that quite frankly that you, Coach Miller, have instilled in my life. There's a lot of people, but stories that I still tell people today, they tell me that these things are not true. And I said, well, guess what? He's still alive, and if you think that I'm lying, I'm more than happy to connect you with him. And I just want to say, hey, happy birthday, and for allowing me to be the man that I am today.
Thank you. I appreciate
just got on.
That.
Happy birthday!
Oh God, that's so nice. That's so great. I can't tell you how happy I am. I know you may think this is maybe an imposition, or maybe it's difficult, but this for me is a highlight. It's just it's a highlight, and it'll be a highlight for you too. I mean, it will be. I mean, it is and will be. I remember the first championship we went to when I was at Cal Poly. The two or three things that I remember most was, number one, the Cal Poly athletes that were there in my first year of coaching were embarrassed to wear the uniforms. We got them, and the uniforms were shit, and they were just not very nice. And we ended up getting nicer uniforms later. I remember Brian Fall at the University of California didn't have a uniform. We didn't have one big enough, so he wore a dress shirt to throw the shot. We were a class operation, and we just so many interesting things happened. But I remember Zonnie, who was in my mind was probably the best quarter miler in the country, not only in Division II, but in the division we ran in. And he was stretching after winning. I think he won a preliminary, and he was stretching, and he popped a muscle, and it hurt our short relay and our mile relay. And even though I have forgiven Zonnie for it, I've never had a chance to tell him that we could have been better my first year had you used your head and done the right thing and listened to your coach and so forth and so on. So anyhow, I remember Zonnie and haven't seen him in years, and one of the really great people, not only a great person, but a great athlete. And the teams were a combination of great people and great athletes. So, and again, I go back to the loss. I was able to, or honored to, say some things, in a couple of the funerals we had, and I miss some of those people enormously. So anyhow, but thanks.
You can see Zani turned on his video camera. He still looks like he can break, 40, 45 in the 400-meter, coach. So thank you, Zani, for letting us see still how handsome you are.
Yeah. Oh, just great. A lot of gray hair.
Yeah, you probably sprinkled that in, but keep on. Did you have anything to say? Again, Jim, you're up next, but since I got Zani, that I thought maybe Zani, if you could say something we haven't heard from you in a while.
I would love to say something. Coach Miller, so good to see you and see everybody that's on the call. Just got the note here about 15 minutes ago from Coach Martin. And Pete, excellent to see you, my man. I saw Bart at the last event I went to, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago at Cal Poly. He's doing well, and it was good to see him. And Coach Miller, you have been exceptional in my life. So has Ron. Ron made the mistake of naming his son after me.
And yes, he did. Yeah.
That boy is just like me. He's crazy. So good to see you, Coach. I know everybody wants to say hi, so I'm going to shut up and let everybody say hi.
Well, thanks, Andy. It's a pleasure. Really a pleasure. A pleasure. Yeah.
I'm going to unmute Jim. Jim, are you under Holly still, or Terry, can you see? There it is. I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so you got it.
I don't know if you see me or if you see my picture of my daughter-in-law or whatever, but it's Jim Warwick. Coach, I'm going to reiterate a little bit of what Fred said. I didn't coach 36 years or 37 years at the university level, but I did coach 36 years at the high school level. And I was lucky enough to have several good coaches in my life, but you are definitely the biggest influence and the best inspiration that I had. And I appreciate that so much. I'm not coaching anymore, but there was a lot of what you taught me that went into what I tried to do at Lompoc High School. So I appreciate it. And thank you very much. I also wanted to say that, I'm sure a lot of people say this to you and you probably just say, yeah, right. But for 80, you look awesome. You really do. I hope that all of us can look as good as you look when we're 80. And finally, I don't know if you're aware or not, but myself and Danny and Stan Hawkerson are going to be in Las Vegas in about 3 weeks. And I think we're going to try and knock on your door. I think we're going to try and
I'm aware of it. And we're already making arrangements to get together. And I would encourage any of you guys, in all sincerity, it doesn't have to be expensive. I can help you out with, housing and we own a bunch of restaurants in town and we have access to a whole bunch of things. And, any of you that want to come into Las Vegas, all you have to do is get a hold of me and tell me, we can get together for a day or an afternoon. And, I would love that. It would just be, fantastic. So don't hesitate if you come this way or get close to come in, whether it's a day or an afternoon, whatever it is, it would be wonderful to get together. Just wonderful.
Yeah, we are definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I look forward to it as well. Yeah.
One person we haven't heard from in a long time is my inspiration in the high jump, Tom Condon. So he still looks like he can get over 6 feet at least. So Tom, I think you're off mute. If you would you say
Tom looks good. Tom looks good. He looks thin and he looks good.
Yes, I've been up and down, but I'm still thin again. And I could probably get over maybe 5'10". I'm not sure about 6 feet, Pete. But my years at Cal Poly were like the greatest of all time. People are like, oh, you could have gone to Yale or Columbia, because I had a little bit of brains out of high school. And they said, oh, we'd love you. You'd be great in those leagues, because they weren't that great. And they're like, would you trade that for anything? And I said, no, because all the relationships I built and made and still have and continue to have, including a lot of this group here, I wouldn't have those if I was back there. My life would be different. I might not live in California. I might not have the right wife, the right kids. And so I feel so blessed to have kind of tripped upon Cal Poly I had never been to Cal Poly. I applied to UC Irvine and Cal Poly because my dad said you got UC or Cal State. Got into Cal Poly, went there, never visited, got in the station wagon, drove up for Wow Week. They came up the next day, took me to dinner and took the car home, and I never looked back. And it was fabulous. So sometimes just dumb luck and God's blessings put you in the spot where you're supposed to be. And I feel like that was where I was supposed to be. I still spend a lot of time at Cal Poly, at the business school. I chair the advisory board for the accounting area in
Great.
and it's the best. So I look back with such fond memories, and I know I have not been that connected, but I was there in May for that reunion, and Coach
Right.
Miller, I saw you from afar. I got there late at the track meet and was hoping to connect with you at dinner. And I don't know if I just didn't see you or you didn't make it to the dinner, but I felt very sad that I didn't get a chance to connect. So hopefully we'll connect the next time. But Pete, thanks so much for including me and continuing to reach out to me to get me back connected, because there's a lot of people on this call that I know well and love and miss very much. So that's it from me.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you.
Oh, it's good. Thank you, Tom. I'm going to call some people out. Eric Huff, you were the loudest guy I knew in college, and you're real quiet now. So would bless us with a few things and say, and now Gary, I see you, but I'm going to make Dana go first, but can anyone unmute Eric, Terry?
Okay.
There it is. I can do it, or you can do it.
I'm asking.
All right. Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I just want to say, Coach, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And, like everybody else said, Cal Poly was, I think, the greatest. When I look back, when you look at life in sections, Cal Poly was fun. I loved it. And, Coach, you had a big influence in my life. I've told you already, at least once a week, I'm sitting with the kids and I go, what would Miller say? You can't put something on that you don't have. You got to strike when the metal's hot.
Yeah.
So you had a big influence on my life. The kids are even repeating your great ideas and everything, and I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you again at Cal Poly. I hope you come out again in March. It was great seeing you then.
Yeah, I plan to come out again, and I'm feeling much better. I was not feeling all that well when I went there last time, but I'm feeling really well, and I'm looking forward to getting together with everybody. One other thing I want to say that I think is important, and I don't know how it affects each one of you, but some of you, not all of you, and you shouldn't feel obligated, but some of you have written me letters and texts and emails that have had a profound effect on me. They really have. And Danny, I don't want to embarrass you, but you've written some really wonderful things, and sometimes they're just a couple of sentences, and sometimes they're more than that. And I can't tell you what an incredible impact they have had on me, and I would wish for all of you to experience that that conversation and that and that feeling, because it's great, because it's an affirmation that some of the things you did really made a difference, and it was great. And Pete, it's interesting because you were not you were not part of that group in the sense that you ran for us, but you were always there, and I always considered you part of our team. And there was always people, a few people like that, which meant that our conversations and what we were doing was spreading around a little bit. And I really appreciate it. And Pete, you've been there, all along forever. And it was great. Another guy who writes me from time to time, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, is Mark Kent. Mark just, will grab a pen and write something, and which is, sometimes is really, really meaningful. And it's really, I would wish all of you would experience that feeling. And I know a lot of you feel that way about each other. And I'd encourage you to reach out and speak to the other guys, because no one else understands. You can try to explain it. And when someone says, how was it? And you say, well, it was great. And that was it. That's, it's woefully short on what really happened. And I just cannot begin to tell you, we were all very lucky, and whoever played a part in it, whether it was some religious thing or some luck or whatever it was, we were all blessed by having the opportunity to be together. It is still, in all sincerity, still the most important years of my life in terms of molding and getting me to a place where I understood things completely differently. And you guys were the greatest teachers in the world. It was great. And not only was great, it is great. It is great. The fact that you would take 30 minutes of your time and do this is an affirmation of that. And as an 80-year-old, I gotta admit, the 80 years old is kicking my ass, but otherwise it's good. So if I came out now to practice, I'd have to have a blowhorn or something else. I don't have the strength to kind of yell like I did. And Matt, you stepped into the void and you did some things. And also I don't want to say this because you all married wonderful people, but Matt, I think went way over his head. And I'm just really proud of that, Matt. I think if anything else, you were the guy that you won. So if you're wondering how you did, you won. So anyhow, anything else, guys? Anything
there is a request, Fred.
Yeah.
You need to get out of the picture and let Janet in. We're tired of looking at your face. So Janet, can you do that? Coach Mill, if you're not, again, just to say the wife now, she's leaving. But I know some people raising their hand, and I know Gary.
Mike Bartlett and Dave Albritton are interested in saying something real quick. So why don't we go with Mike? You first. You'll have to unmute yourself, Mike.
Got it. Okay, Coach, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I was thinking as I'm looking that you just look fantastic, and that when they make the movie of your life, which they will do, they're going to have to find a much younger actor to play you.
Yeah, I just hope I'm around. Yeah, I hope I'm around. I thanks. And Mike, let's stay in touch. I know we haven't. I made an additional pledge to the university, and Cap got involved in that as well. And we've put in I think I don't want to say a couple of million, but it's been kind of approaching that. And I know you have some ideas about it. And needless to say, at any level, finance is an issue. So let's stay in touch about that. I'd really like to make sure that we're together.
I just had lunch with Ashley Offerman yesterday. Right. And we talked about that. And I think the baby step is to buy a single family house on a big lot and build 2 ADUs in the back and have 12 or 14 beds. And that's my goal for 24.
Yeah, no, whatever you want to do, just let me know. And if we can, help you or you help us, it would be great. But we're making progress in that. And clearly money is a factor.
So there's another thing he mentioned yesterday that I don't know how many of you knew it, but Cal Poly, for the first time in a long time, is going to be participating in indoor season.
Right.
Which I have a lot of fun memories of.
Yeah. Well, some of them are fun, and some of them may not be quite as fun. I remember Danny Aldridge running a mile, and the pace was too slow, and Danny kind of looked like he was shot out of a cannon. The only problem was the cannon he was shot out of only went about 10 yards. So it wasn't one of those cannons that had a long trajectory. So they're going to go indoors, and it'll be fun. And I'm really happy about what I've read about how the teams are doing, and it's really good. And by the way, I just want to mention Tad Scales is on. Tad was not an athlete for us at Cal Poly, but has been with me, on and off for the last, 30 years. And Tad was a pole vaulter at the University of Kansas. And Tad, every, couple of weeks writes me a series of jokes, of which I'm going to give him 50-50. 50% of them are shit, and then 50% of them are really funny. And I use them, and then I tell people they're my jokes. So he he's been great. And Tad, thank you for, you and I have talked about things way beyond track and field, obviously, and I really appreciate your involvement. You've been a great person. So
that's good.
All right.
Terry,
yeah, Dave Albritton, and then looks like Joe Fabris wants to put in a word or two.
Yeah.
Thanks for raising your hand, Joe.
Coach, I've told you before what you've been to my life, so I won't go into it all again. Just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Today, I think you look great. And it's also good to see all you folks out there, all part of my youth. Love you guys. And that's about it.
That's more than it. That's what this is all about.
Oh, you can tell Rocket that I won't be dressing up for Halloween this year, so everybody showing up on his doorstep.
Yeah, Rocket's business is doing $300 million a month, so I'm not sure he's thinking about you dressing up as a snake or whatever it was you dressed up as. But you scared the shit out of him. I know that. So whatever the case is, and now Chris lives in another world. I mean, I just want him to make more money so he can just help me as I get older and older. He's been great. He has 3 children, all really good kids, and he's been great. But thanks. Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure, and you have a good rest of your birthday and enjoy.
Thank you. I just had Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf over. They came by and we spent some time talking about the time we've spent. And I don't know if you remember, but whoever was here for the party, they came, and Stephanie was really moved by the whole thing. She had never seen interaction of a coach with athletes that felt the way they did and said the things they said, and she's won 22 Grand Slams, and it's not as if she's, she hasn't been around. So she was very impressed, and Andre was as well. And when I told them we were going to do this, this short Zoom, they thought it was just great. So I'm really excited about the fact that we brought all these worlds together. So
Joe Fabris, and then looks like Brother Guga.
Yeah, hey. Pete, we're running a little. I'm going to dinner tonight, so maybe another 5-10 minutes if that's okay.
Sounds good.
Hey, I'll be quick then. Am I on?
Don't be quick. Do what you have to do.
Okay, well, I want to run sub 4, Coach. I want to be quick. The thing I wanted to say is, you look great and happy birthday. But I also want to let everybody know that we have 2 opportunities coming up to get together, because Cal Poly is hosting the Big West Cross Country Meet this fall on the 27th of October. And they also got the Big West Track Meet for the 2024 season. So while our reunion is going to be set for 2025, we will have something for the Big West Meet. So I just want to make sure everybody knew that we'll have some opportunities to get together and see each other, and perhaps Coach can make it up for one or both of those before the reunion. But I just want to get that out there for everybody on the call and say happy birthday, Coach.
Yeah, thank you. And I try to get up there as much as I can, Joe. And we're I will be there if there's even a remote possibility, and I'll definitely be there for the reunion. I just love what we do, and it's really special. So I'll be there for sure.
Great.
Thank you, Joe. Ron Martin.
Yeah, I want to yield my time to Gary Davis. He's had his hand up a while, so I'll yield my time to Gary Davis. If there's any time left, you can come back to me. Gary.
Press the space button, Gary.
Okay, I did. Hey, Ron, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Happy birthday, Coach. It's a number of you. Fred Harvey, don't know you, heard a lot about you, proud of you, okay? Dana, love you. Peter, love you. But most of all, and Ron, you know how I feel about you, but Coach, I ain't learned nothing from you. I'm going to be honest with you, okay? However, the one thing you did do is you helped me in a given situation in Miami that I really needed you. After you helped me years later, I said, Coach, thank you. And you told me you didn't have a clue what you've done. So I don't know what's going on. All right. But I love you, man. And happy birthday. I ain't going to keep up. I'm not going to keep this going, but hey, man, I love you. I love you for the man you are, what you stand for. And the one thing I love about you, you're 80 And you know what, man? You have to have had that much more wisdom. And that's the one thing that I would like to hang around you with, because your wisdom and knowledge is like they would say, it's off the chain.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. And you were a big part of, you know, what we did, even though you didn't run track. I mean, us getting together and going through the workouts, and then you going into the NFL, and then, you know, the things we did afterwards. And the truth is, Gary, you know that if you tell me you need me, I'm there. And you know, I'm there for you and your family. And you know, you've been a special guy, and I'm not going to forget our interaction. And you know, and I'm going to try to get to, you know, San Luis when I can. But again, I'm extending an invitation to all of you guys as it relates to Las Vegas. And, you know, it's a, you know, a great opportunity. One of the things we may want to think about, I don't want to make a promise, but I do have a box at the, with the NFL team. And it's possible that if we could organize it effectively, maybe come to a mid-season or late season game, and we would pick up the tab, come in, you know, sit in the box, eat and drink until your face falls off, and then you know, just have a good time. Maybe we can have Zani give us a demonstration of how he pulled his hamstring stretching at the track meet, which would be great. And then we can throw Zani out of the group. He would be persona non grata. He'd be gone. So
yeah. I'd like to say hello to Zani as well. And Mo Cricket, you know exactly who you are.
Yes, I do.
It's over your head, Steve.
Gary, I want to build on just the football thing. Coach Miller, obviously you affected people outside the track and field, because two people who I respect a lot, Steve Spencer and Dana Nafsinger, you greatly actually contributed them, Dana, to his leg speed, catching fast track receivers. Again, Steve Spencer, again, just the influence you've had on him. So it just went outside the track and field. So I want to acknowledge Dana and Steve. They're both keynote speakers, but they'll kick my ass if I ask them to say anything.
Yeah, so well, Steve Spencer, I think we helped him with equipment, and I was happy to do that. And you know, it was really, you know, really great. I was really thrilled, and I can't help but pushing this more, because look, we you know, if 4 or 5 of you guys want to get together and come to Vegas and, you know, spend a couple of days, and I really would love to have you come. I really would. It would be great. We'd have plenty to talk about, and, you know, beyond the track and field and beyond all of that. But it would be great to have you here. So you have an open invitation for you, your wife, significant other, whoever it is. I'd love to have you come. So.
You know, so Brother Guga, you can speak, but you know, I don't know if you could wrap it up in a minute or two. So,
well, yeah, you know, I'm long-winded, so I'll just be as brief as possible. I mean, I know a lot of stories that many of you don't know, and I won't get into that. But I will share one thing with you that you probably have never heard, and I'll try to make it quick. Coach Miller and I, we both live in Chicago, and I was his assistant coach at a high school called Bloom High School in Chicago. So he got the job at Cal Poly, and he was going to drive across country. I knew he was a competitive man, but I didn't know how competitive. So we're driving this truck full of furniture, and we decided to play these games just to occupy our time. Well, one of the games he wanted to play was, as we get to Arizona, the temperature's like 98 outside. He rolls up the windows on both sides, turns the heat on, and the first one to cry, "Uncle," loses, right? And so I'm sitting on the passenger side, and I'm dying in this car. I'm dying. And I'm looking, I said, how is this humanly possible that he is taking more heat than me? That's not possible. And I'm dying. And finally I said, okay, you win. And so rolls the window back down, turns the heat off. And I said, how did you do that? He looks at me, he says, well, I didn't have an option. I didn't plan to come out of that alive. He said, I was going to let you. And that's when I learned how competitive the man was. So happy birthday.
It was also a black and white thing. I think there was very deep seated.
God bless everybody for coming. Certainly appreciate it. Yeah. And we'd all like to get together again real soon. And
well, Ron, you've been instrumental in my life and so forth. And I don't know if Jim Schenkel is still on the phone. He was for a while, and you know, it's not I think the gym is, we all have, I think a lot of athletes think that coaches are softer on the really good athletes and treat them differently, et cetera, et cetera. I will tell you that Jim was a pleasure to coach, and that group, the cross country group, it just so happened at that time was a fabulous group. And again, I don't know if Jim ever heard me say this, but you guys brought me a hell of a lot more than I brought you, or at least it was a tie, and I'm thankful for it. And I'm thankful to be, to have gotten to this place, and God willing, you guys will as well. I mean, as it relates to the years of your life. And also, I would say in closing that if there's anything I can never do to help you in any way, I'm more than happy to do that. I consider you part of my family. I love you like my own children, and I'm happy to to be engaged in your life however you'd like it to be. And I'm 80, and I do some work in Louisiana with a former WNBA player. We're running a foundation there, and I'm going to New York and meeting with the president of Liberia, an African country that we're doing some work there, doing some work in Morocco. Unfortunately, they had a giant earthquake here recently, lost over 1,000 people. But my goal in life, and it remains so, because of you guys, I have dedicated my life to being there, when people that I love and care about need me, and I'm happy to be there. So I'm thrilled, Peter. Thank you for doing this. For those of you that didn't say anything, I hope at least you feel some of these things. And again, I'm going to invite you to be with me at any time. And I frequently go to cities, so I think Peter has become my agent. You can get a hold of Peter, and he can tell you where I am 24 hours a day. But when I say I love you, it's not an empty, hollow conversation. I genuinely love you and appreciate you. Couldn't have got to where I am today without you.
Coach, I want to wrap up by saying Rob Castleman, let me acknowledge him, Stan Hawkerson, Tim McDonald in the house, Greg Mandanis is in the house, and Terry, the better looking Bauer. I mean, just the brothers actually are on. And just in closing, and I'm glad that Manny, you let your beautiful bride in there. You did definitely marry up, okay, as I did too. So I have a little closing thing for you, Coach, and I'm going to share screen, and then we'll call it a wrap. Is that okay?
Fine, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you all for showing up. Make sure you check the chats.
Guys.
There's been some nice messages in the chats.
Those are great, Pete.
So
thank you very much.
Concludes our program. So thank you so much for those who actually, and again, Vernon Celez, we call Coach Miller more than AT&T. So I wanted to make sure Vernon got a shout out. Okay.
Vernon comes to Vegas on a regular basis. I don't know. He's here all the time. So he comes with his family, and we always have a sit down and nice visit. But again, thanks guys. And I look forward to seeing you in person. And I just, again, you may think this is meaningless or not as, impactful, but it means so much to me. And to turning 80 is, it's a challenge, and I couldn't be happier.